To Toffee TV, it's the Everton News Daily. It's May the 17th, 2018. It's been a bit of a busy few days, hasn't it? It's starting to calm down a little bit. Started the transfer window today as well. We haven't signed anyone yet. But obviously we're still looking to bring in a manager. Marco Silva is apparently in advanced talks to take over the job. But it is being said that it's going to take about 10 days to 2 weeks before a manager is brought in. We'll have to wait and see. It might be done more quickly. Hopefully it will, so everyone can get themselves sorted. They know where they are ahead of what will be a big summer, really, not only for Everton, but with the World Cup, the transfer window opening earlier as well and closing earlier. People are going to want to get their business done quickly, and that means Everton have to be ready to go. Some news from today. Henry Onyekuru, currently on loan at Anderlecht, apparently wants to go to Borussia Mönchengladbach next season. It's been reported that some of that is down to the fact that he feels let down by what's happened at Anderlecht. We brought you the story this week that sources in Nigeria have said that they purposely didn't want to play him, so he couldn't go to the World. So he didn't go to the World Cup. So we'd miss out on a work payment, so they'd get him back next year. Now, apparently Henry Onyekuru has got onto that fact and wants to play in Germany next season. Not totally sure if all that's true, but that is the story coming out today. So we'll wait and see if there's any more developments on that. Goodison Park is set to host a friendly between Everton and the winner of the Sports Pesa competition that's currently going on, or will soon be going on, in Africa. Of course, we played a team last year in Africa that won that tournament. Well, that's set to happen again, but it's set to happen at Goodison Park, either this pre-season or in a international break, depending on what is arranged for pre-season. So we'll wait and see on that. That would be brilliant. Be a big opportunity for an African side to come over to play in Europe and play against the Premier League team. Don't really see that happen very, very often, because when Premier League teams play friendlies at home, there's obviously financial incentives and such forth, which you don't really see a lot of African teams coming into Europe full stop for friendlies, probably because of the difference of when the seasons are and because of the financial costs involved in it as well. So fantastic opportunity for them, and a fantastic opportunity for Sports Pesa to get their brand out there as well. Joe Robles obviously looks set to leave Everton. Everton's release list hasn't come out yet. I'm sure it'll come out soon, or certainly at the end of the month. Joe Robles is likely to be on that, and it looks like he's going to go back to Getafe, where he started his career. Their goalkeeper looks to be set to move in, and Joe will move in to be the number one at Getafe. So if that happens, that will be fantastic for him. He's 27, and at this stage of his career really needs to be playing first team football. Never quite happened at Everton. Got the chance, when Tim Howard left, but Ronald Koeman decided obviously he wanted a long-term number one established goalkeeper, obviously Jordan Pickford. And Joe Robles, he actually started the season as the third choice goalkeeper, got back to being the second choice goalkeeper when Martin Stecklenberg got injured, and never really got any game time. Hopefully he'll get his chance at Getafe and start playing regularly in La Liga, so good luck to him if that's his choice. We've been linked with a player we played against last season, Brian Crescente, midfielder on loan from Benfica at Atalanta. Scored 3 times against us last season. Midfielder. Now, Atalanta are supposed to be making him a permanent buy, but the talk is in Italy that if they do, they would also be willing to sell him at a profit if a team comes in for him. It's slightly complicated, but so obviously he done the business against us last season. There was rumours of him. There was links with him coming in January. And apparently Everton have retained that interest, and he is one of the names Marcel Brands is looking at, apparently. So we've been linked with him today. Davy Klassen has been linked with a move to Napoli. Again, he was very close to signing for them in January. There was some kind of contractual dispute, which stopped that going ahead, which led Sam Allardyce to say he thought he was stupid for not going because he wouldn't get much of an opportunity at Everton, which he didn't in the second half of the season. But that rumour has come back again, in the same place that the rumour about Brian Crescente came out. So it could be one attacking midfielder going out for another. Certainly that's what that publication thinks anyway. Wayne Rooney's odds of leaving Everton have dramatically gone down. His odds on favour to stay now with some bookmakers. I think it's 8 to 11 for him to stay, evens for him to go to DC United. Of course, it doesn't really mean anything, but the bookmakers are thinking with Sam Allardyce leaving the club now that Wayne Rooney would opt to stay. I'm sure Wayne Rooney might want to sit down with whoever comes in first to find out what's going on. He doesn't have to make a decision till mid-July anyway, when the transfer window opens in MLS, so he's got plenty of time to mull that over. So I'm sure he'd want to sit down with Marcel Brands, with board members and with the new manager to find out what the future holds for him at Everton Football Club, if there's any future for him at Everton Football Club. So or he might, you know what, he might just decide there's so much change that it might be worth him going as well. We'll have to wait and see. Duncan Ferguson and Morgan Rylance, they are still at Everton Football Club. All of Sam Allardyce's other coaches have now left the club. Steve Walsh has left the club, but they are still at Everton for the time being. I'm sure that will be up to the manager, the new manager who comes in, to decide the fates of those two people. Morgan Rylance is an excellent fitness coach, so they might want to keep hold of him. They might want to also keep hold of Duncan Ferguson, but maybe put him back into youth coaching. Although, you know, players like Zheng Tosun have said how well he has done for coaching him, added that little bit of aggression. Also, defenders have said Duncan Ferguson has helped him, helped them become better defenders, because he's been going up against them in training sessions and shown what defenders will do, what centre forwards will do to the defenders and how they can combat that. So maybe he is more of a specialist kind of coach, and that's how he's been, or why he's been retained at the club for so long. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what the direction is of a new manager, and obviously of Marcel Brands when he comes in. Marcel Brands has been speaking. He spoke last night to some of the Dutch media. He said that he was approached 2 years ago when Mino Raiola approached him, saying about Everton's interest. He said he'd maintained contact with the owner and chairman since then. He said Everton are planning a bit of a different model, and they're trying to get Everton to reach a higher level in coming years. I am not going to Everton to change their culture. We must keep the culture, and that Everton have. We just have to improve things. He said he'd spoken to Ronald Koeman. He said I spoke to Ronald when I seen him at the Dutch matches. We spoke about Everton. His opinion is that it will not be easy, but that Everton are a great club with fantastic people. He said the Premier League is the biggest league in the world and not an easy league, and the expectations are high. PSV did everything in their power to keep me, and that shows appreciation and respect for me. It made my decision even more difficult, and I plan to do my best at Everton. He said in football it's important to choose your direction, which you do with scouts and managers, but you must get the time and the chance to build something up, and that is what I will be doing at Everton. So he seems to be in for the long haul. He said that before. He said it's about keeping things. He said about Everton have swapped and changed managers and players far too often, so he's looking for some consistency going forward. Sam Allardyce has also been speaking today to TalkSport to his old mate Jim White. He said that he was surprised for a start. He said, I'm surprised how it came about. It seemed to be done and dusted through the media before I met Farhead. I think it was out there in the open for a couple of days. That leaves you with certainly what was going to happen. It was slightly disappointing. Who was involved in that, I couldn't tell you, but something as delicate as that is something you want to be confidential. He said there's a huge pressure on a manager from all angles nowadays, and that's growing because the money. It's brought me instability, more instability than ever before, and the people who have suffered more than anyone is the managers, and it's not always their fault. He said, I think when it's open in the press from the day before, it's highly unlikely it was going to be anything else. I prepared myself for what was being said by the press a couple of days before. My meeting with Farhad was amicable. We conducted ourselves amicably, but I expressed a disappointment with how it had got out. On the football, he said there's always been an element of discontent in the football. You're left with tools you have. Though it was about reorganising Everton, they conceded 28 goals in 8 games before I arrived. The club was in a difficult position. For me, it was about getting the lads to work harder in and out of possession, and then create more chances when things got better. With Farhad's blessing, we signed Theo Walcott and Cenk Tosun. It improved as time went on. If I wasn't enough for Everton fans at the time, I think they were more happy with the direction they were going in than wasn't. But the ones that didn't go home and don't really say too much. He said, but the people who don't go home and don't say too much. The future, he said, accept it and move on. The club are moving in the right direction. There's massive plans for the new stadium and to make the club more special than it is in the near future. I'm not a part of the club anymore, but I wish them all the best in the future. He said, moving on, up until recently, yes, in terms of staying longer, but then you hear the rumours and you have some concern. That was put to bed yesterday, and when the decision is made, there's little you can do other than move on. He said, I'm disappointed, in not just for me. It's not just me who's lost the job. They dedicated themselves from day one. We all, as we did, the players, pulled in the right direction. I couldn't have asked for more. Obviously talking with the backroom staff. And on Wayne Rooney, said, if anyone suggests there's any rift between Wayne Rooney and I, then I would 100% refute that. I wish Wayne all the best, either at Everton or in America. He said, final message to Everton, he said, I would say most Everton fans didn't want me out. Not everyone has the same opinion as the few, but that's fueled up over many media centres. That happens, I accept that. Moving forward, Everton need to build a team on the field and move forward to grow with the stadium being built. So Sam Allardyce feels that he had most fans behind him. I don't agree, but that's just from what I see. Let us know your thoughts on what you think on that. Were you against them? Were you against them that much that you wanted them to leave, or were you willing to give them another year? I think that the whole thing was bigger than Sam Allardyce. I think from what you've seen in the last few days that it was bigger than Sam Allardyce. Everton want a new direction and have put plans in place for a new direction, with the board being restructured and with Marcel Brands being brought into the club as well. It wasn't just about Sam Allardyce, it was about Steve Walsh, it was about Ronald Koeman before them. It was about getting to the end of the season, limping to the end of the season, and taking hold of things and moving in the right direction. Sam Allardyce just isn't part of those plans that Everton have got. They have got new plans, so I wouldn't put it all down to the fans and what they thought of Sam Allardyce. I would put it down to what Everton want to do in the future, and that's what they have done. So there you go. This has been the Everton New Daily. I have done a couple of videos. I've done a video with John Blaine from the Everton Business Matters podcast about the situation at the board, and me and Baz have discussed also all the changes that have happened in the last few days. So make sure you check them out. Thank you for watching Toffee TV. I'll see you later.